r/Askreddit by Robotainment. How would you feel if the only thing we knew about presidential candidates was their stance on issues? No information on party, name, gender, race, or religious beliefs or lack thereof. Would it be based on their actual stance, or what they claim as their stance? How do you verify which is which? You should look up the philosophical thought experiment called The Veil of Ignorance. It poses a similar question. You have to look at all political, economic, and social ideas without knowing what your socio-economic position is. Pasting the reply from Mukanthamagad woman to give more accurate description of the experiment, popularly attributed to American philosopher John Rawls. You have to look at all that and then design a society that you would want to live in. But the catch is, you don't know what your position will be. You might be at the bottom, you might be at the top. The idea is that you'll try to make the society as equitable as possible, kind of like the kid who cuts the cake doesn't get to pick his slice. An example of this in fiction is from the Doctor Who 50th anniversary special Day of the Doctor, in which two negotiators have their memories wiped, the theory being that they will negotiate a treaty that is fair to all parties, as each negotiator doesn't know which party they belong to. I don't think it would work. It's very easy for a politician to take a verbal stance on an issue. It's different to see their actual history and actions. Politicians would just sound as vague and non-committal as possible, which they usually already do, and we won't be able to hold them accountable. If they were being dishonest about their actual platforms and beliefs, it would just cause more problems. If anything, edit. Wow, this blew up. Please don't vote for Michael Bloomberg in the primaries. www.theguardian.com link. I ran for municipal office a couple years ago, lost in a nail biter while running. A major political figure in town, former mayor and retired federal cabinet minister, invited me for coffee. This guy is as straight up, honest, and principled as they come. He liked me, my campaign, and wanted to offer some advice. The main takeaway he emphasized in our chat was this: don't make promises or guarantees. Don't say you are going to do anything. Promise nothing but good representation. His reason: so many things are beyond the control of a single elected official. Tell people what you believe and how you will represent them. If you offer promises, you're setting them up for disappointment and yourself up for failure. Feed lie even more to get elected than they do now. Bloomberg, a 33 years old, 64, 240 pounds blonde guy with blue eyes, 6 packs and mixed parents, would never do such a thing. It should be like the blind auditions on The Voice. The choice. God, this is such a Reddit post. I seriously wonder how someone could read the title and think, yes, this is a great idea and would totally work out just fine. If you were offered $1,00,00,00,00 to not use Reddit for a day, would you take it? The best bullshitter wins. Not that that changes much, but without anything to hold them accountable to their statements and commitments, it's just a mess. Interesting in theory, but context, in the form of values or motivations, matters. For a very extreme example, you can go to political compassments and see that two people in a vacuum oppose chattel slavery from Africa, but one of them opposes it because the institution itself is wrong, left, and the other because they don't want black people in America alt-right. If you are curious, you could try one of the online tests. That does essentially what you're asking. I usually do. I sit with www.isidwith.com link. The problem with iSidwith is it completely throws out any nuance at all. Very broad and vague policy questions are yet no. I mean, for one, it isn't plausible, but also the ability to be social is important for a leader. That would be useless, just words on a page. Everyone would jockey to write the most pandering words on a page. You need to know who those words are coming from, their background. You need to see how genuine they are when they make those promises out loud. I think we need to know more than just the policies. I want to know if they're just saying things for votes, or if there's proof of them actually trying to do what they say. It's all very well saying war is bad, but are you actually protesting against wars, or just saying it's bad as an example? I'd be happy if the early primaries simply involved a basic civics contests, and the person who scores the lowest is automatically disqualified from running. How would you handle the contest, and how would you ensure that it's not biased or gamed? I know this might sound crazy, because I see what you're saying, and why, but I think that would actually be a terrible idea. First, you're assuming that the test can't be rigged or manipulated in some way, and there's sufficient evidence that our electoral processes aren't as secure as we thought. Second, barring out and out fraud, there's still opportunity for political manipulation in the test's formulation or administration again. This requires good faith participation from all actors, which you plausibly won't have. Next, let's say the test isn't out and out rigged, and is also fairly conceived and administered. What constitutes a pass? Can you miss any questions? Are the test results made public? Even if you officially pass, does missing a particular question implicitly impugn a candidate's worthiness? I don't think there are necessarily clear or correct answers to these questions, but there's a lot riding on getting them all right on the first try. And finally, do you really want a third party deciding on your behalf that your candidate is unfit and ineligible for office? I get how in the best case scenario, that seems like a good thing, but it's also fundamentally undemocratic in a very deep meaningful sense. Broadly speaking, my view is that we should do the opposite and have as few barriers as possible between the electorate and the candidate. There's a lot I would change about our political administrative processes, but the fact that basically anyone can run isn't one of them. No, because things like leadership ability and integrity matter. Trump would have won even harder. The only reason why some of his party does not like him is because he's a dick. If this fact was hidden from them, all anyone would see is lower taxes and increased border security. Those are both things that are very popular in America. I'd definitely not vote for any candidate promising free stuff, that's for sure. I'd think it would be amazing, though funnily enough it is this method that is giving President Trump my vote. Trump's views are very attractive to voters. Tell them Sanders said it and amazing support. But unfortunately in the age of identity politics, we can't ignore race, gender, and the rest. To fail to address these issues is to tacitly support the status quo. All politics is identity politics, whether we want them to be or not. I don't think anyone would believe that Sanders said this: I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall, mark my words. I'd prefer AI politicians, to be fair. I too welcome our robot overlords. Anyone can fake a stance. Still won't change the fact Bernie's plans would bankrupt the global economy. Like and subscribe for good luck, you handsome gentleman.